to ask you this because I think it's pretty straightforward, and people just seem to understand. At the very least, they can intuit based on what they've absorbed through osmosis of the political discussion. The fact that the teachers union is controlled by the Democratic Party and vice versa. They feed into one another. So my question to you is, could you break this down for the audience a bit more? How did this relationship form? How did we end up in a position where education became so politicized?
I think it's been politicized for a long time. A lot of people say, well, it's really been on the uptick now because we're just now seeing a lot of the politicization in the classroom, which, by the way, the American Federation of Teachers' own poll found in battleground states that Democrats were more to blame than Republicans on the issue of politicization in the classroom. And that was the number one issue plaguing public schools today. Parents just want their kids to get a good education. They don't want to send their kids to leftist indoctrination camps where they send their kids to a place for 13 years to basically hate them and their way of life. Parents want their kids raised in ways that are aligned with their own values. I think we're just seeing it a lot more now because of things like Libs of TikTok, great account to follow on Twitter, or now X, exposing a lot of the overplaying of the hand of leftists in the public school system. And also, yes, because the school closures that were induced by the teachers' unions showed parents what was happening. It was already there, and I think it's been there for a long time. And the left has really controlled the school boards. They've controlled the teacher pipeline. You look at the education departments in colleges, it's 99% Marxist. And they're the ones training the teachers to go into the public school system with this garbage that flows down to the students as well. So if you want to save our country, even if you don't care about education reform per se, this is the way to do it. You got to you got to solve the problem by striking it at the root. And there's no way of undoing 13 years of brainwashing for 50 million kids a year going through that system to learn, to at least be told that big government is the answer to everything.
And of course, you and I know that that is one of the primary reasons that they oppose school choice. It's not just because of the teachers union and the leverage that they have over the Democratic Party. It's the fact that left-wing people know that if parents are able to decide what their children are taught, they're not going to be brainwashed into holding their worldview.
That's right. It's partially about defending the teachers union's turf, protecting their monopoly, but it's also a monopoly on the minds of other people's children. The way that I see the school system is a way to raise your kids. And whether you like to admit it or not, that is partially the role of the school system. You're outsourcing the process of parenting for 7 hours a day for 13 years of your child's life. And school choice is an incremental step, an improvement in that scenario, because at least you get to pick who's kind of who your children are around for certain periods of the day. And hopefully it's people that are aligned with your own values. But in the current system, you live here, you got to send your kid here to this government school, regardless of whether it's meeting their needs or regardless of whether they're aligned with your values. And look, this is a problem that could go either way, right? I mean, you can imagine a world that doesn't exist today, but you have government schools that are explicitly or at least implicitly right-leaning schools. Maybe they're too far right for whatever reason.
One can only imagine.
I never see those examples come out. That can happen. But look, the only way to get out of the mess of having other people indoctrinate your kids with ways that are deeply against your own values is to allow people to have choice. I mean, there's other levers you can pull to try to get the schools to focus on the basics as opposed to politically divisive topics. But I don't think there's a school that exists that is purely has no bias at all. I mean, it's an impossible problem to fix. And the problem results from us living in a society where people just fundamentally are going to disagree about how they want to raise their kids. And I think that's okay. I think the problem is we force millions of families to send their kids to institutions that aren't aligned with their values. And that can go both ways. So I think the best solution, whether you're from the left or the right, is from the bottom up. Let people choose for their own kids. Let them educate their kids in the way that they see fit, and stop trying to control other people's children's minds.